You're invited to join us for a spring equinox celebration in Sedona. This Sedona Ascension Retreat takes place at the gorgeous Loma Kasi Retreat Center, with Oak Creek flowing through it, nestled against a magnificent red rock. We will be engaging in spiritual practices and enjoying fascinating presentations by Global Ascension leader Tracy Ash, the voice of the Egyptian god Ptah, Mark Sorensen, Sedona Vortex expert Ben Lonetree, and me, a 5D Ascension leader, Suzanne Ross. Just visit SedonaAscensionRetreats.com to register today. Please enjoy this interview with facilitator Mark Sorensen. I'm so delighted to be here today with Mark Sorensen, voice of Ptah. And Mark will be joining us for our spectacular spring equinox celebration, our spring equinox ascension retreat. And Mark will be taking us out into the Red Rocks, where he will be guiding some interdimensional meditation. I'm so glad that you are here in Sedona with us, Mark.
I'm glad to be here too today. It's just absolutely amazing to be back in Sedona. I love it here. I really do.
Yes, magical red rock paradise, the vortex of Sedona. And Mark and I have been communicating online, but I'm really delighted to have this opportunity to spend some time with him in person, because we've discovered more and more connections, galactic connections, and similarities on our path.
So just a point of interest is, do you realize that Sedona is where we first came and landed with our spaceship? We came here, there was a whole bunch of us, 144,000 if you can believe that.
Okay, yeah.
Right, and there's about 500 people in the area here still from that time when we first came here.
Very much into the work of J.J. Hurtak and the 144,000 angels that he talks about coming to Earth and being really the progenitors of an advanced race. So much in common as far as our connection with the galactics, Mark, and I'm really looking forward to what you're going to bring forth at this retreat.
Yeah, most certainly. I have some thoughts and ideas about our tour, of course, which I'll get into in a minute. The ascension process, that's the main thing that we're here for, because it is a beautiful time. The planets are in alignment, and everything works out for us to be here. There's things that happen at these times of the years with the spring, summer, fall, and winter equinoxes and solstices, right? So it's a very powerful time for these energies to come through. So what I'm going to be doing is what I call a galactivation with Ptah, which is activation of certain DNA nodes and strands within our physical bodies. So each one is going to get an individual activation while we're out on the site, out at the Red Rocks. And I'm also going to explain about the ascension process, where we are at, how we got here, and where we're going to with this rise in frequency in the body. It's not that we're going to disappear somewhere or move off the planet to a different paradigm or something like that. It's our own conscious awakening, our own conscious awareness, and the frequency of the vibration of our vessels, our physical vessels, to bring it up from the third dimension through to the fifth and even higher. So this is where we're going, most definitely. So I'm looking forward to talking about that a little bit, see where everybody's at, how comfortable they are, and then we're going to do an activation individual for each person, which is a bunch of light codes, which I will be speaking in light language, and I'll just give you a little sample, okay? What that sounds like. So,
thank you.
Tashtrona undarane kishiktuhuke itato yatata no ushinia ide tro unta ushanake udarano kishiu tuanana. So basically what I'm doing is I'm talking to each person individually, and you're already getting activated before you come here, believe it or not, just by what I did just now. Wow. So it's starting, okay? So things are progressing in action. And so with that, we'll talk, I'll bring the conversation into being with the galactics, being with the galactics who are here on Earth. I mentioned earlier that we arrived here. We actually landed outside Cathedral Rock here at Sedona when we first came here, right? So within each one of these rock structures here is a multi-dimensional city. And so what I'm going to be doing on our tour is it's like a seer's tour through astral travel. We're going to go inside these different rock structures here in Sedona, and you're going to see different things like the Galactic Federation University, the Intergalactic Space Station Center, and things like that. So it's going to be quite fascinating. Definitely excited about this whole trip.
That is so fascinating. I'm a tour guide here in Sedona. I've lived here for 5 years, and I've seen these things inside the rocks. Like, I know they're crystal temples, and that at one point in time they weren't covered with rust, that they were actually crystal temples, alive and well. And when you look inside them, they are alive and well, hustling and bustling with activity,
Yes.
with different types of healing modalities, with training, all very advanced.
That's right. That's right.
So I look forward to you facilitating with more clarity to actually allow our participants to see inside these rocks as well.
Yeah, and this is the unique part about it. It's not like I'm telling you what's in there. I'm actually going to take you in there. So be ready for the ride. It's going to be a great one.
Ah, that's amazing.
Definitely.
And let's dive in a little bit more to how you started to awaken on your path and how you came to be in the recognition of who you are today, and then just fulfilling that role.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually just in a short-term guided to come to Sedona 3 years ago, and it was something that I had to do because when I landed here, when we landed with the ship, we planted the Atlantean crystals. One of them was planted here by the Cathedral Rock, right? And the others were planted in different spots around the world. And that was my role as crystal keeper, to look after these crystals. So I was called to come back to activate this crystal at the Cathedral Rock. It was 3 years ago on Easter Saturday. We actually did that. However, for me and my activation as Ptah, it was kind of an interesting story. We know everything is energy, right? We have this flow and ebb of energy, and we have electricity on the planet, we have energy in our body. There was a couple things that happened before this activation of Ptah awoke in me fully. And one was the realization, by listening to some videos and tapes from Michael Tellinger, which of course is a good friend of mine, about these ancient sites being electronic circuit boards. How the big buildings are like a capacitor, and the channels are like, with the columns are like channels for the electricity to bounce off the columns, and the seating auditoriums are a space for the energies to bounce back and forth and into these column channels. And so I was activated by listening to Michael talking on one of his shows about this to bring forward some light codes, which in essence activated these electronic flows on the sixth dimension. And so it was 2 weeks after that, when that happened, there was 4 inverted pyramid-shaped space saucers over the pyramids in Egypt. They were going around for 5 hours, and there was tones coming down, whoom, 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 deep frequency tones going into the pyramids. And I'm catching this. I'm going, wow. Somebody had it on Facebook, on a YouTube video. And I'm just going, this is Ptah's ship. This is the activation of something's going on with the pyramids and the whole system of the pyramids, planetary, and through the other planets on the solar system and to other planets outside the solar system. And so the next day, I'm looking through Facebook again because I posted that post. I wanted to see how many people saw it actually, to see what the response was. And I saw this picture inside the pyramid of a sarcophagus, and it was one of the big ones where the ends were like 20 feet by 20 feet, and it must have been 80 feet long inside the pyramid. And I'm reading the inscription of the codes because they just, all of a sudden, they just jumped off the page in white language floating through the sky, and I was able to read them. And by my reading them, triggered something inside the DNA in my body, and it was in that moment this Ptah frequency awoke in my body. And I've been doing light codes, and I've been reading hieroglyphs, and I've been doing translations of different ancient sites. And so I'm moving forward with that. Definitely want to do some documentaries on the ancient Egypt and places which we don't know, which haven't been disclosed yet, what they are and who made them and why they're there. So this is where I'm taking myself down the road to do this work with, which is why I'm here.
Well, thank you for dedicating your life to that. I've always thought that Sedona, for one, is billions of years
in the making, and that it was many, many, many ages ago, that it was a crystal temple city built by the Star people, and that Egypt itself is much, much, much older, and again, that's a crystal temple city.
Indeed.
And the connection, of course, to all these sacred sites around the world. Now, something that came to me after I read Drunvalo Melchizedek's works about the 13 chakras
Right.
is I started a television channel called Supernatural Adventures and put the byline around the globe and into the cosmos. Because what started to come to me with these 13 chakras was first 13 sites in the Agartha network around the global inner earth grid, and then 13 sacred sites on the surface, and then 13 chakras along our body, and 13 constellations in the cosmos. And this connection, microcosm, macrocosm. And so, now that we're speaking about sacred sites, to include Sedona, the root chakra, and of course, the Great Pyramid as being the soul star, the 13th chakra. So we have the root to the soul star. Please offer your feedback on the whole picture of the 13 and the connections.
Well, definitely the main Giza pyramid is the core center of all of these pyramids here on Earth, and to the other planets and star systems, okay? This is very important, and if you take a look at a higher dimension, within the pyramid structure itself, it's a blue-white plasma. And this blue-white plasma is the energy frequency of creation. And so by tapping into this frequency within the pyramid, which is connected to all the other pyramids, right now this is holding the third dimensional realm in place with this energy and frequencies. So once this shifts to the next level, we're going to start rising higher within our own physical bodies to be able to allow these frequencies to come through, so that eventually we will merge with our higher self at some point in time. This is where we're going.
And I have this vision of moving through this 13th gateway of our soul star, and moving then through the pyramid, the Great Pyramid being then activated and actually serving as some kind of gateway, even a vehicle to help the ascension of the new Earth, the new 5D Earth out of the 3D Earth. My friend Brooks Agnew, who'll be here on Easter weekend, he talks about the soul of Mother Earth ascending out of her 3D physical body through the gateway of the 13th. And so could you see the Great Pyramid serving that purpose the way I've described it?
Yes, actually I do, and it's going to happen very soon. I believe it's going to begin to happen on the summer solstice, with the connection with this energy coming through the Great Pyramid, through the 13th chakra, the headstone of it, and connecting with the other pyramids on the planet and beyond this planet Earth. And just so you know, I'm supposed to be in Egypt to perform this ceremony at that time.
Summer solstice.
Yes.
Sign me up. I'm going. Because it's just like our own souls ascending through our 13th gateway,
Yes.
and transforming into these crystalline light beings. We were talking earlier, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening.
Yes.
So many of us are already experiencing even this physical transformation of our beings. And so, we're here to facilitate and assimilate
Yes.
for the masses this shift, because we don't want it to be short-circuiting people's nervous systems, and to support people in this assimilation, in this transformation on an emotional, mental, physical, spiritual level.
Energetic, etheric, all levels, right? Definitely.
Just made up a new word, mentical. I'm not sure what that is, but... So, Mark, your journey is so profound, and you're stepping really into your power as your identity taught. Is it Ptah?
Ptah. Yes.
And so along the way, everywhere you go, it seems you're being connected to those people who are integral on the path, and
Correct.
activating them as you go along.
This is true. And may I share what I shared with you earlier about the spaceships
Please
on
do.
the way down? So as I'm coming down from Canada over the last week, there was 3 places: Memphis, Tennessee. One was between Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Gallup, New Mexico, and over Mount San Francisco, which is Flagstaff. So first ship was the father ship. And of course I bring in the transmissions and I find out that that's my father ship that's there with me, guiding me. And it's telling me that I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path, and things are opening up beautifully. The next ships is my mothership with a couple of scout ships over New Mexico. And again, I'm getting transmissions and I'm being told that everything will unfold, creation is happening, we're here to co-create and help us as people. And then finally this morning as I'm coming down by Flagstaff, there's a scout ship there. And of course, I'm giving some beautiful messages on creation. It was never expected to be so good as it is now. And it was the remembering of when we created with the higher beings, along with the universe and prime source creator, when we created Earth, that this is a beautiful model. And this next time around, there's not going to be any negativity, no darkness. We're going to get through this and we will rise, we will ascend. So all good news all around. I'm really excited about that. Definitely.
Absolutely. The new Earth, the new 5D Earth, a recreation into a space of beauty, unity, peace, harmony, and of course, love, the most powerful force in the universe.
Absolutely.
Raising the love light frequency for all.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, I am so delighted that you'll be facilitating at this retreat,
Yes.
SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. And you are invited, of course, to go out on the tours on the land with us, going into these sacred vortex sites of Sedona, where some very magical things will be unfolding. Always activating the higher ascension frequencies for everyone who will be participating. So please join us. And then Easter weekend, you're still going to be here.
That's right. I'm going to stick around for a few months.
That's fantastic, because Easter weekend we have Star of Ancient Aliens, Andrew Collins, coming out.
Right.
And so let's just chat briefly about that, because I'm really curious about what you're getting in regards to that. So Andrew came out here last year.
Okay.
And I hosted another event last year, and Andrew and I had a group of people. We all went out to this key portal site indicated in the Rendlesham Forest binary code download, where Jim Penniston placed his hand on a craft that landed in Rendlesham Forest in the UK. And when he did so, he was downloaded with these binary codes, which then revealed exploration for the advancement of humanity, these beings coming from 8100 AD. From the future into now, to reveal these 7 key coordinate sites. Well, one of those sites is right here in Sedona, Arizona. So we took GPS equipment out, we found the site, we did a ritual linking with the other 6 sites, very powerful. And then when he returned to the UK and we had a discussion over Zoom, I presented to him this possibility that there's 7, they must be 7 energy centers. And he said, well, no, let's not get it confused with what we already know are the energy centers on planet Earth. And I said, well, what if we are needing 13? We now only have 7, because Sedona and Egypt are still the same, but it's presenting, 5 other ones in addition to what we already know may be the energy centers with Glastonbury at the heart,
Right.
etc. So we explored that possibility. Now he's coming back Easter weekend, and we are going to go back out to that site, but this time explore the possibility of activating 13 sites on planet Earth and our own 13 energy centers. In the meantime, this is all about ascension. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I'm just getting triggered by this conversation, actually. I know of one of those other places just south of Albuquerque. It's another center. I was there a couple of years ago and found it already. And there's some others out there, too, that I'm aware of as well. So I'll be looking forward to bringing that all together as part of this, the 7 and the extra 6 chakras, so we have 13 complete, and then align them up and see what we can do to activate.
Yes, I feel it's so important. And so we identify the 13 spaces, and then also with the constellations and the cosmos.
Yes.
So what we came up with, Andrew and I, because Andrew's written the book, The Cygnus Key and the Cygnus Mystery. So I just thought really powerfully that Cygnus, which he's identified as a celestial swan,
Yes.
was very important to ancient cultures who were in more of the matriarchal era, and that Cygnus, the celestial swan, or even the Holy Spirit or the white dove is transmitting this divine feminine energy for this age, which I call the crystal age of ascension.
Yes.
Because back in the golden age of enlightenment, you had Orion, the warrior in the sky, really transmitting more of the divine masculine energy. And so with archaeoastronomy, Andrew overlaid Cygnus on the three pyramids at Giza, showing the heart and the tips of the wings being the three points that aligned with the three pyramids, but then also knowing that there's an Orion overlay with the three belt stars of Orion and the three Hopi Mesas just north of here. Now, when you overlay Cygnus upon Sedona, you have the three stars with the Hopi Mesas, but the head of the swan is Lizard Rock, which is at the base of Thunder Mountain, the head of the swan, and he says then Thunder Mountain is the swan. Here in Sedona, the head of the swan. That's very significant because Cygnus then correlates with Sedona for the ascension, Orion still with then the 13th, Egypt, and then as we go through the other 11 sites, boom, 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 we know what constellations they align with.
Definitely. And I believe it also lines up, there's some pyramids down in Antarctica too. I recall doing an activation a couple of years ago in January, bringing in the diamond ray light from Cygnus to Earth through the pyramids in Antarctica, connecting all the pyramids here on the planet.
Wow. And my friend Brad Olson will be joining us at this Easter weekend event, who just got back from Antarctica. And he's giving a presentation called Anomalies of Antarctica. It's so amazing when we all work together and share this information. Yes. Because I was looking to find an audiobook about Antarctica before I interviewed Brad Olson. Right. And so I'm scrolling through Audible and I see this amazing book. The name of it's not coming up right at the moment because it's kind of a complicated, Zandergeist, something like that. But it's this story of these gentlemen who were on a ship going to this abandoned base in Antarctica, a Russian base called Vostok. And on their way, they lowered the chef to net some fish. And down there, he sees all of these urns lined up on a ice shelf. And so they gather the urns, and this is a group from the UK. So they take these urns back to an academic institution in the UK, and these urns are filled with ancient scrolls. Wow. And as they pull out the scrolls and they have a linguist translate the scrolls, it's all about ancient Atlantis in Antarctica.
Exactly, yes. Exactly. That's what it is. It's down there. That's what it is. So this is going to be exciting hooking up with these gentlemen.
Yes, thank you for letting me go on all these. But it's so amazing. Of course, we have Maria Wheatley. We'll be doing divining and dowsing of the earth currents. She's identified Michael and Mary lines and now Catherine and Peter lines. So we'll see where those line up here because that has everything to do with what we're talking about. Right. These 13 sites connecting. And then Laura Eisenhower, of course, major global alchemist, cosmic astrologer. And so I'm so glad you're going to be here for that too, Mark.
Yes, I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
Yes, and so that event is beyondthematrix.tv. Here in Sedona, we're activating the matrix for global ascension.
We are.
Powerful people like my dear friend Mark Sorensen. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you in Sedona. Many blessings.
Blessings.